So this is a 3-walled shower. You got your back wall here. This is called the soap dish wall. As you see here and here, they're about the same width. Those cut pieces should be about the same width. And those are the tiles that are used. The smaller one is your bull nose. And that tile, Queen Creek. I just got a text, 35 minutes. 1, 2, 3, ideal.
But I just want to make sure that the tile, there wouldn't make any sense for it to not be all the way down to the bottom, but I don't want to start wrong because everything's based off of the bottom. So we have to.
And then we have to have 2 more pieces.
Yeah, and then I'm going to start a couple of screws, excuse me.
Okay. So how long are those pieces right there? Or
which pieces?
Right here, I can go cut some.
Cut some. Oh, we only need, well, I guess you could cut some. We're only working on this wall for right now.
Right.
But 31 3/4. 31 1/2. My question was, I just want to make sure when I start that this is going to be all the way to the bottom of the pan, right? So I'm going to put this down here, and I'm only going to lift up just a small little bit to make it level. We got the tile saw here. We got the shower over here. It's red guarded. The pan is in. We got the ledger board in, and we're getting ready to put some tile in.
Well, have you ever done tile before?
I did my own house.
Yeah.
I have not been paid to do tile before. So learning from the professionals here, the people that have done it for the public, that's, you know, night and day difference. So I'm a little bit more familiar with it than some of the other students, but I'm not a professional by any means. So I'm looking forward to getting their tips and tricks and learning everything that they have to tell us.
So no wonder you're excited because like you have done it before, but now you're going to learn the official way of doing it, correct?
Yeah, I want to be the best at everything that I do. So if I can learn from somebody who's actually done it for 20, 30 years and can just pour all that knowledge into you quickly, I know my learning curve is going to be a lot faster than some others by coming to this school. So I'm excited to get this thing going and see what happens. Got to have the knee pads. Especially for tile, you're on your knees most of the time, so I don't want to feel it when I get home. If I was doing this class when I was like 18, I probably wouldn't have them on because I would tough it out. But being in my 30s, I'm like, you know what? Knee pads is where it's at. I'm going to go ahead and use those things. I think Nelson needs to come over here and apologize to me there, Edgar, because he was like, yeah, one of the houses, their pan is just slightly off, so you're going to have to adjust it. But go ahead and zoom in on that, Edgar, right there. And so I just wanted to make sure that we documented this and had this on camera, that this was not my house. Whoever's pan is unlevel, it is not house number 2. And that is on camera now. So there you go, Nelson. Yeah, I'm just doing one side at a time. Sometimes when the impact drill hits it, it will throw it off just slightly. And then if it gets thrown off just slightly from this level, now the rest of my wall I'm going to be fighting with is going to be slightly off. I know that I'm good now, and I can start laying tiles. So once,
center line all the way up?
Yeah, I have my center line. I also wanted to show you this, Nelson, just real quick.
Gotta check it there.
Sit.
Nice and level.
Yeah.
Center.
And I didn't do anything to the board, so house number 2 was not on level.
No, over there it is.
We're gonna put
Over there it is.
It's just like a glue. You can use mortar, you can use this mastic. We're trying to get these done fairly quickly. We've got our trowels that we'll scoop these out with. I'll show you once I get it open. There you go. And so we're gonna take this. Once I get the plastic off of it, we're gonna scoop this out, bring it over here where it's a little more convenient. Bring it up here. Get it on the wall. Right now, I'm just trying to get it up there. Once I get it up there, I'm gonna trowel it just right to where I get the perfect depth for the mastic. Yeah, it's in between a 1/4 and an 1/8. That allows for it to compress and then not squeeze out the sides. We get the right amount that we need behind the tile, so it's not overflowing. Okay, that looks pretty good. Can I have a couple tiles to set? The line's right here. We've already marked our center so that we know that we're not going to have a big piece and a small piece over here. Everything should be perfectly symmetrical, as symmetrical as we can possibly get it. There's always going to be a little bit of dips and dives in the drywall, but this is as symmetrical as we can possibly get it. I can see my center line straight down there in the middle. You give it a little rub.
You work off the center line, right?
Off the center line, yep. Got one there. I'm pushing it down, wiggling it in. Are we gonna fit here? No, we're not. Okay. So this is where we gotta start doing a little bit of our cuts. Those cuts should match each other. It's almost 5 1/4. Cut a little bit more. All right, so I'm getting the tile saw ready. It has a guard here. It sets it to the proper depth that we need. Let's see. And basically we got water underneath here. You'll either have some that has like a water pump underneath, and then there's a hose that comes here and it sprays on the blade. This one's a little bit more basic. It has water that's inside here. Yeah, maybe I can take this off and show you.
And the blade dips into the water, correct?
Yeah, the blade spins there, dips into the water, which just brings the water up so that you're not cracking the tile. Overheat it, crack it. You can use that, or you can use a diamond blade. But if you're needing to make straight lines, you should use a tile saw every time. It's a little bit harder to see. This one's all black, but you can see down here, 5, 5 1/2, 6. I'd like to see, I guess you can go off of this. So that's how you do it. I'm just gonna line it up to this line because those lines are really hard to read.
Yeah, it is really hard.
So I'm just gonna go like this. The water's supposed to help prevent that from the heat and the early breaking. A higher speed would help. Well, you're gonna have your center line, and then we put the ledger board. You can actually start from the center as long as you have a level board. Go up top, let that dry, and then you can tape the way down. But this is easier because this isn't gonna allow anything to fall down. So you can mark both ways. Can you dip this in water for me real quick? It should be right behind you. You don't want the mats to be so thick that it's gonna get inside these grout lines, and you don't want it drying on the top. So what I did is I just used a sponge. I got off the excess and then also made sure that there wasn't anything in between here, because we're gonna come back in and we're gonna put grout lines in. We want those to be really pretty, really nice, straight and uniform. But if you got a lot of your mastic and or mortar, whatever you use to apply the tile in here, then when you put that grout line in, it's going to be bubbly, or you're going to see the color that the mastic is or the mortar is that the grout isn't. So it'll just not look as pretty. So you got to keep that clean all the way down.
Now this is the tile for the other side, correct?
Yep. And it's exactly the same almost, but I marked both of them just to make sure that it's exactly right. And then I'll place that in. And then what we'll do is then on the next line, we'll start a tile right there on top of this. That way we're not railroading them. It'll look really pretty, really nice. So this will be half of that. Then this one will look like that one. This one will look like that one. It'll just be a nice pyramid all the way up to the top. Oh, look at that. So basically, I use it as like a float. It's like for the grout. And when you get a whole line up here, I push on it like this to make sure that none of these tiles are like that at all. There's no difference between them on the edges, because the edges, when you run your hand over it, you want it to feel like one solid piece. So you come in here, you go like this. That feels really good, actually. We got lucky with that. Didn't have to do much. But what it does is it floats it across, and it makes it to where this looks like one solid piece, and there's no bumps.
Keeps everything flat.
Yeah, it keeps everything real flat, real pretty. And then we just keep moving. Push that bad boy in. Okay, so on this one, I put it down before I marked the center of that tile, and you can tell that if you look closely there, the line is just slightly to the right, which would bring us 1/8 to 1/4 inch off all the way to the top. So I'm gonna move this down, move this over. There we go. Now I'm 100% on. I'm gonna do that for the rest of the time, but I did forget to do that right at the beginning. So I marked this center tile with my center line. That way I know when I come and put my end pieces on here and here, both of those are going to be symmetrical, exactly the same, and it'll look really pretty, really nice all the way up to the top. But if I go 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch off on this center line every single time, this whole wall is going to go that way, and it's going to look weird.
So you gotta literally take care of it one row at a time,
Yeah.
one tile at a time.
Yeah. One row that's off will affect the rest of it. Obviously, the lower that you are, the more crucial that it is, because it's going to affect more rows above it. So the first row is the most important, less and less all the way to the top. But you got to make sure that each line is where it needs to be. Each line of tiles is in reference to your center line here, and then everything else will match up fine for you. Yeah. Yep. I took the measurement. I guess I could go like this and just make sure. But I measured it with the measuring tape and then the tile over here just to make sure that I know where my cut side is. This will be my keep side. So I can X that if I want. And then we'll go over back to the tile blade and get it cut. Now this is gonna. Yeah, it came out nice. I'm gonna put the cut side this way. That way we hide as many imperfections as we possibly can. And that'll be behind this tile that comes that way. I have not checked to see if this fits. Oh, it's tight, let's see. Is it gonna fit? No, I might have a little bit too much on this side. Could you grab a 6-inch? Well, I actually think I have just a little bit of buildup right here on the red guard in the corner. I feel like if I hit that with my 6-inch knife, that this will sit down and flush in there. I guess I could just try to shave a little bit off, depending on how fast they bring me that blade. Yep, just a little bit off, definitely took care of it. Yes, thank you. I'll just leave this in here, so I know I'll be scraping stuff in the future.
So that was literally like a thin, like 1/16 of an inch, something like that.
Yeah, it was a little bit, just, you know, you can't add it back. So if you leave it a hair bit long, you're doing a little bit better than if you make it too short, because then that piece isn't worth much. If we can get all this tile up today, we can grout tomorrow, and that's kind of that's my personal goal. Yeah, I'm gonna try to get all 3 walls done. I think that I can do that. So if I can get all 3 walls done, I'll let it set and cure, and then I'll come back tomorrow. I'll put the grout on, sponge it, let that cure, and then I don't know if this stuff needs a sealer or not. It may not, but then I'll be done with tile and we can move on to some other things, because we've only got 2 weeks left and we're really trying to get it done as fast as we can. So I think that I can get this done all the way around. Thank you, Lucette. All right, next tile. I'm kind of a perfectionist, so to see tile go on straight is very important, and then obviously that it's sitting flat. But each line, yeah, it starts to look better and better, and you're like, man, I did something. It's looking nice. I have that pencil back there? Yeah, this one is attention to detail. This is something that I like because if you don't pay attention to detail, it's going to show at the end product. So each and every time I'm marking my centers, each and every time I'm setting these tiles, checking my level, making sure that everything's right, cleaning up my grout lines. It's once you get the rhythm of it, it's a lot of fun. I actually like tiling. But it is something that you definitely can't just, you know, slam it up there and there it is, because this is the finishing product. Kind of like the difference between trim carpentry and rough framing. You know, you're not going to see those things, even though it's very important, but the finishing product is something that they're going to see every single day, hopefully. So it's got to look good, it's got to look right, otherwise they're going to see it every day. I got this sponge here that keeps everything clean. And it allows for me to get that excess mastic off of there, and then it allows for me to get it out of those grout lines too. Like I can see a little bit right here.
What happens if you don't keep it wet and moist as you go along? Like if you have dry sponge, that'll harden.
Yeah, this is if you don't have a wet sponge, it's going to dry hard on you. You're not going to be able to keep it clean. You're not going to be able to keep it flat. You're not going to be able to keep it all the mastic out of the grout lines. And then your finishing product, when you come in with your grout lines, it's gonna look bad. So it's real important that you keep everything clean. And then I come through and clean my tools too, because you probably saw earlier, I had a little mastic that fell on the ground, and then I put this in it accidentally, went up here to make sure that everything was level and flat, and then it got a whole bunch of mastic on the front of the tile, which gave me a little extra cleanup time that I didn't need to encounter. So I'm just making sure that everything's real clean with this wet sponge. So I got my keep side marked, and I got it marked with an L or an R just to let me know what side that I'm cutting. So that also allows for me to put the blade on the discard side, and then I know when I turn this tile around what side it's going on. What he was saying about this is real important. So this is made for 1/8. This isn't 1/8. Just keep everything real clean. If you see something in the grout line, knock it off. Like that. Like that. And push like this. No, you push it down each line. And then I know exactly where to cut. I make my line. Turn it over, L or an R, and then I come up and then I place them in that way.
It looked like a shower.
Yeah. Yeah, it flies up pretty fast. Once you get the foundation right and all your lines right and all your measuring and all your preparatory work done, it flies up pretty quick. There's a good rhythm to it, and it's not really that big of a deal. It's just like anything else. Riding a bike, you just got to do it, practice it, and then once you get it, it goes pretty quick.
Very cool. And you excited that you're now learning it, but of official means?
Yes, yeah.
You said you had done it at home, right?
Yeah, I had done it at home for myself one time, and I just got it done. You know, I read everything that I could, watched as many videos as I could, but having somebody here to actually help me point things out, somebody that's done it, you know, for years and years, that was definitely invaluable to me. It makes my learning curve a lot quicker, and I'm very appreciative for it.